Dear friends, good morning. Today's presentation is on A to Z RAM, that is a radiograph assessment method for patients with suspected bone tumor. If we see any patient with swelling or pain around a joint and we are suspecting a bone tumor for this patient, what are the points that should be assessed or evaluated? So first of all, we will see what is the history of the patient. So what are the symptoms? What is the duration of pain or what is the duration of swelling? Whether he is having any past history of trauma prior to this swelling. Next will be clinical examination or physical examination that includes the examination of swelling. So what is the size of swelling? What is the site of swelling? What is the location? How the skin looks? Whether the skin is tense, shiny with dilated veins, whether the local temperature is raised and tenderness present, what are the movements present if the swelling is around a joint. Next, we'll be seeing the neurovascular assessment, the movements. So in this current case, it was a swelling over the distal end of radius for 6 months duration, and we had asked the symptoms and signs and evaluated this patient. So here the skin looks bit tense, shiny. It was local temperature raised. So what are the investigations? What should be performed for these patients? So first investigation in orthopedics is plain radiograph or X-ray of this patient, which will be followed by blood investigations depending on our differential diagnosis. So in a case of suspected bone tumor, the investigations includes complete blood count, ESR, CRP, calcium level, alkaline phosphate level. Next investigations includes MRI, which may be followed by a biopsy for diagnosis. So the investigations can be classified into two types. One is diagnostic and second is staging investigations. So if we appreciate this case and we can see there is a swelling or distal end of radius and we had asked for a X-ray of this patient. So on seeing this X-ray, it's a lytic lesion involving the distal end of the radius. It looks quite well defined lesion, and on the right side we can see the MRI of this patient. So what is the differential diagnosis based on the clinical examination and X-ray and MRI? So that should be kept in our mind, and this will be followed by few other investigations. We will be seeing a next case. So it's a case of a person showing a X-ray of humerus full length with a fracture involving the proximal part of the humerus at the metaphysis and diaphysis with a lesion which is extending up to the distal end of humerus. So it's a quite big lesion involving whole of the humerus with pathological fracture most probably. And what is the differential diagnosis that is kept in our mind. Next, a different case, a young girl with a lesion in femur, and how this X-ray looks to us that should be evaluated whether it's a benign or malignant radiograph. So on the right side we can see Mr. Amrish Puri, a great villain in Indian film industry, Bollywood. So there are two images shared here. One where he did a role of a good father, and on the right side it's a baddie image of him. So how this X-ray looks to us, whether the lesion is benign or malignant. So if we evaluate this X-ray very properly, we can appreciate there is a lesion in femur which looks ill-defined, and there is some calcification or ossification seen. There is periosteal reaction appreciated in this case. So based on the radiological diagnosis, whether this looks benign or malignant, that should be kept in our mind. But the treating orthopedic surgeon thought that it's a benign radiograph and a benign case, and he performed nailing for this case. So Ender's nail was placed for this patient without investigating this case properly, and a nail was put, and it was thought to be a aneurysmal bone cyst or simple bone cyst. And few months after this surgery, the swelling increased in size tremendously, and the patient was referred to us for further management. So this is a classical case of rhodoid sarcoma. So this is an image from again an Indian movie, DDLJ. And here the Kajol has missed the train and she was unable to catch Shah Rukh Khan. So you have to bang our heads because it's a case of rhodoid sarcoma. Rhodoid sarcoma means a case of a sarcoma where it was thought to be a benign tumor and some intervention performed in the form of nailing or plating without getting into the diagnosis. So in this case, biopsy was performed and it turned out to be Ewing sarcoma of the femur bone, which was non-metastatic, and patient was treated with neoadjuvant chemotherapy. So chemotherapy was given, and we have two options available in a case of rhodoid sarcoma. One is limb salvage surgery, and second is amputation. So in this case, there are two treatment options available. Either we can perform hip disarticulation, or we can try to salvage the limb with the help of an expandable joint. Going to another case, a case of femur where pathological fracture was present, and again the surgeon thought it was a benign tumor or a traumatic lesion, and he put a nail, and this is the lesion. It looks quite big, and patient presented with multiple lung mets and was treated with best supportive care. The patient died after few months because it was extensive metastasis. Again, sharing a different case, 55 years female with the fracture of femur. Again, it was thought to be a benign lesion or a metastatic lesion by the orthopedic surgeon, and he put a nail inside. And here we can see the lesion has increased very big in size, and the patient presented with big swelling around the femur. So, what's your diagnosis? It's analog again from Hollywood, Joker and Batman, and Loki and Thor. So here Loki is a benign or malignant that should be appreciated because the treatment depends totally on whether the lesion is benign or malignant, and treatment plans are totally different in these cases. So Mr. Amrish Puri again, whether he is benign or malignant, here we have again few villains from Bollywood. So we should appreciate the X-ray very properly and reach the diagnosis before treating the patient with any definitive surgery. So this is again an important learning lesson from today's presentation is the diagnosis should be appreciated very properly whether the lesion is benign or malignant, and then only we should proceed for definitive management. Going back to the case what we discussed in previous slide. So it was a 55 years female with rhodoid sarcoma. The histopath turned out to be osteosarcoma. Patient was treated with neoadjuvant chemotherapy. She had no pulmonary mets and was treated with external hemipelvectomy as limb salvage surgery was not possible. So whole of the extremity was cut away with the acetabulum because the tract was contaminated at the time of nailing. So external hemipelvectomy was performed for this case and amputation was the result. So if we see this X-ray again, what are the points what we discussed in our first slide? So it was the history that was very important. In this case, it was just a trivial trauma. And if we read this X-ray very properly, the diagnosis should have been reached in our mind that it was not a traumatic fracture or a metastatic lesion. It turned out to be something else. So the investigations for management of bone tumors include staging and diagnostic studies. So what we discussed, staging first includes bone scan, CT thorax and PET scan. But before staging investigation, most important is a diagnostic test. So what are the diagnostic investigation? Plain radiograph. So in today's presentation, we will be focusing mainly on plain radiographs. So what was done in the previous cases, that is rhodoid sarcoma, thought to be a benign tumor or a metastatic bone tumor, nailing or plating done, and final histopaths turn out to be osteosarcoma, Ewing sarcoma or chondrosarcoma. And what are the two treatment options in these cases? Rhodoid sarcoma, either we can do amputation. So what was done for the kid with a nail inside was a expandable or growing total femur megaprosthesis. So coming back to what we want to discuss today and focus is X-ray. So how should we read X-ray? So this is the slide showing a bone tumor. First we will be seeing age and gender. Next, whether the lesion is single or multiple. What is the location of the lesion on skeleton? So which bone is affected? which part of the bone is affected, whether it's epiphysis, metaphysis, or diaphysis. Next, we'll be seeing the borders of the lesion. How is the bone destruction? What is type of periosteal reaction? Soft tissue mass. So this was a paper which was published in Radiography Journal in 2021 this year only, and it's a proposed A to Z RAM, that is radiograph assessment method for triage of patients with a suspected bone tumor. So what is meaning of this A to Z? So we have used the alphabets from A to Z. That includes A, age of the patient, whether the patient is skeletally mature or immature, so it's a child or a grown up person. B, bone, which part of the bone is involved, so it's a long bone or flat bone. B, again bone, which part of the bone, it's epiphysis, metaphysis, or diaphysis. C is for characteristic, whether the lesion is osteolytic, osteosclerotic, or a mixed type of lesion. C is for the content, so matrix, so what is included into the tumor. So it's osteoblastic matrix, chondroblastic matrix, or ground glass type of content. D is for distribution, whether the tumor is well defined or ill defined. E is for exterior of the bone, so that includes periosteal reaction and soft tissue mass. F is for fracture, whether there is a pathological fracture present or not. And Z is for zone of transition, so whether it's a narrow zone of transition or a wide zone of transition. So in today's presentation, we will be seeing all these points and we'll be focusing on what is meaning of A to Z RAM, and we'll be describing all these features included in A to Z RAM. So this was a algorithm what we proposed in our paper. So if we are evaluating a patient of suspected bone tumor or pathological fracture, first is important to ask the history. So whether there is history of trivial trauma, clinical features in any bone tumors includes pain, swelling, and deformity. This is followed by a radiograph of the affected limb, and important point is get a full length radiograph of the bone which is affected. So if it's a distal end radius, go from distal end radius to proximal radius, which includes elbow joint and wrist joint. If it's lesion involving the femur, it should be screened from hip to femur completely. Lab investigations includes complete blood count, ESR, that is erythrocyte sedimentation rate, calcium, alkaline phosphate, creatinine, bilirubin, proteins, and other blood investigations depending on that case. Next is read the X-ray with this easy method, that is A to Z RAM. So what we had described in our previous slides: age, bone, characteristic of the lesion, content of the tumor, cortical destruction, distribution of the tumor, exterior of the bone, fracture, and zone of transition. And with help of this method, we will be able to suggest or classify whether the lesion goes into which category. So we have two categories here available. One is benign tumor. So the lesion in benign tumor is well defined with a narrow zone of transition with no content or chondroid matrix and a benign type of periosteal reaction. As compared to a malignant tumor, it is having cortical breach which is ill-defined, wide zone of transition with osteoid or chondroid content and malignant type of periosteal reaction. So any X-ray can be classified into these two types, and these all features suggest whether it's a benign or malignant tumor. So going to examples, this is a case of a skeletally immature individual. Show the black triangle which is pointing towards the physis. So physis was open in this case. So it's a skeletally immature child. Which bone is affected? Here it's a long bone, that is femur. Which part of the femur? So the end of the bone are called epiphysis. The middle or shaft part is called diaphysis. So here the lesion was involving the metaphysis and diaphyseal area. How are the characteristics? So it's a osteosclerotic content. White triangle is pointing towards osteosclerotic content. So we will be seeing in a subsequent slide what is meaning of osteosclerotic content. Next is it is having osteoblastic matrix. Here there was no cortical destruction. How the lesion looks, it's ill defined because we are unable to know where the start of the tumor is and where is the end of the tumor. So it's a ill-defined lesion. Next is exterior of the bone, that is periosteal reaction. Here we can appreciate it's a sunburst type of periosteal reaction with a Codman's triangle. What is meaning of Codman's triangle and what is meaning of sunburst type of periosteal reaction? So that will be also discussed in subsequent slides. Next, there is a small white arrow pointing towards pathological fracture. Next is wide zone of transition. So if we summarize all these points, so it's a case of a skeletally immature individual showing a lesion in femur involving the metaphysis and diaphysis with a osteosclerotic characteristic osteomatrix which was ill-defined and having wide zone of transition with a periosteal reaction of sunburst and Codman's triangle with a pathological fracture. So all these points summarizes towards a malignant bone lesion, and the differential diagnosis in this case will be a osteosarcoma of femur in a growing child. Going to next case, it's a lesion in femur again. So which part of femur? Here it's neck of the femur, just at the trochanteric region, which is in the skeletally mature individual, so the physis is closed. It's osteolytic lesion with no content, with no periosteal reaction, no soft tissue mass, without a pathological fracture. And important point is the two black arrows showing where the tumor is starting and where the tumor is ending. So it's a well-defined lesion with a narrow zone of transition. So if we want to summarize this case, it's a lesion in femur bone involving the metaphysis and diaphysis, which is well defined with narrow zone of transition, and most probably it's a benign bone tumor. So the differential diagnosis in this case can be a giant cell tumor or an aneurysmal bone cyst. Going to the next slide, we will be seeing what are the important points or features what we discussed in A to Z RAM. So first is epiphysis, that means the end of the bone. The shaft part of the bone is called diaphysis, and the area between epiphysis and diaphysis is called metaphysis. So in this current X-ray, it's a lesion involving the diaphysis, which looks ill-defined with a pathological fracture. The ends of the fracture doesn't look significantly transverse, so it doesn't look to be a traumatic fracture. It looks to be a metastatic fracture or a case of sarcoma which is having pathological fracture. So it's not a case of traumatic fracture. Depending on the edges ends of the fracture, there is some ossification present. This case should be evaluated very properly, and he had a history of trivial trauma and the humerus bone broke. Next is borders or zone of transition. So what is meaning of this? If we are having a pencil or a pen and if we are drawing the borders of any country around the world, so we are able to draw where is the country starting and where it's ending, and we are able to draw the borders of that country very well on land. But if the border with the adjacent countries in the sea, it will be very difficult to draw of the borders. So it makes difficult to differentiate where the country is starting and where it's ending. So that will be a ill-defined lesion or a wide zone of transition. And if we are able to draw the borders very well, that is narrow zone of transition and well-defined lesion. So going to the next slide, what is meaning of this? So this is very clear. The land border between two countries, India and Pakistan, and this is Atari border and Wagah border which India and Pakistan shares on land, and it's very clear cut defined where the border of India is. There is a white line between the two countries, and we can differentiate where the border of India is and where the border of Pakistan is. On the right side, we can appreciate it's a border between India and Pakistan in sea near Gujarat. So it's a sea border, and we are unable to differentiate where India is and where Pakistan is, and it makes very difficult to appreciate border between two countries in sea. So on the left side it's a land border, and on the right side it's a sea border. So well defined tumors are like land borders, it is having narrow zone of transition, and malignant tumors are like sea borders between two countries, very difficult to appreciate, and it's a ill defined lesion or a malignant type of a lesion. So meaning of zone of transition, we are able to differentiate where there is red color and where there is green color. So it's a sharp defined, sharply outlined sclerotic border and a slow growing tumor. So most probably these all findings suggest it's a benign bone tumor. On the right side, we are unable to differentiate where the green color is, where the red color is. It makes very difficult to appreciate whether it's which type of tumor. It's a malignant type of tumor. Most of all, it's a fast growing lesion with poorly defined borders. So we'll be seeing few X-rays, what is which will be showing what is meaning of well-defined and ill-defined lesion. So this is a X-ray of skeletally immature child. Physis is open, and with the help of pencil, so red color we are able to draw where the tumor is starting, and with the blue color we are able to draw where the tumor is ending. And inside there is a pathological fracture, and a small fragment is seen, so that is fallen leaf sign into simple bone cyst involving the humerus bone. So it's very clear cut defined here. The tumor is starting where and it's ending where. It's a narrow zone of transition or a well defined lesion. So this is a radiograph of a simple bone cyst prone on histopathology. Next, what the X-ray we described few slides before, that is a lesion involving again humerus skeletally mature. It's ill-defined lesion where we are unable to differentiate where the tumor is starting and where it's ending. So it's a ill-defined or a wide zone of transition, and this was a sarcoma involving the humerus. Next is type of bone destruction. So there are three common types of bone destruction. One is geographic, means it's a well-defined lesion. We are able to know where the tumor is starting and where it's ending. So that is geographic lesion. Second is moth-eaten. So we will be seeing what is meaning of moth-eaten. So skull X-ray showing multiple punched out lesions. So this was multiple myeloma, classical case of moth-eaten type. And third is permeative type of lesion. So what is meaning of permeative type, that will be also discussed. So it was a case of Ewing sarcoma and a permeative type of lesion. So we have three common types of bone destruction. One is giant cell tumor, geographic lesion, moth-eaten, and third is Ewing sarcoma or permeative type. So first is geographic lesion. This is we are able to know where the tumor is starting, where is it's ending. So it's a geographic lesion, distal end radius lesion, which is very well defined. Next is moth-eaten type of appearance. So we can appreciate the wood and leaves which are eaten by moths, and multiple punched out lesions are there and which are not connected with each other. So that is classical case of moth-eaten type of periosteal reaction. So on the right side we can see the moths and the clothes which are affected by moth, and the X-ray showing multiple punched out lesions. So this is a case of multiple myeloma. Next is permeative type of lesion, which is classically seen in Ewing sarcoma and few metastatic lesions. So here we can appreciate there is a permeative type of lesion involving the femur, pelvis bone with pathological fracture of the femur and pelvis. Next is content of the tumor. What is meaning of content? So what the tumor is having in its inside part. So we can appreciate here what is meaning of this. So osteoid matrix or osteoblastic matrix. So the lesion here looks like fluffy cotton wool like densities, and it's an example of osteoid matrix or osteoblastic matrix classically seen in osteosarcoma lesions. Next is chondroblastic matrix. So what is meaning of chondroblastic matrix? It looks like popcorn like punctate annular comma shaped calcifications. So classically seen in chondrosarcoma lesions. So this was a case of chondrosarcoma of pelvis which was showing a popcorn like punctate annular calcification, so seen in chondrosarcoma. So there are two types of matrix. One is osteoid matrix, which looks like fluffy cotton wool like densities, and chondroblastic matrix, which look like popcorn. Next important features when we are seeing any X-ray is periosteal reaction. And what is meaning of this? So periosteal reaction is response of cortical bone or a cancellous bone to an underlying insult. So here we can see three different types of periosteal reaction. One is sunburst type of periosteal reaction, second is a solid type of periosteal reaction, and third is Codman's type of periosteal reaction. So we will be seeing what is meaning of all these. So solid type of periosteal reactions is seen generally in benign tumors. It's a case of osteoid osteoma with a nidus inside. So it's a benign type of periosteal reaction. Osteoid osteoma is having solid type of periosteal reaction, and we can appreciate here it's a nidus seen inside the cortex. Next important is Codman's triangle. So Codman's triangle is named on Ernest Amory Codman, which was described classically for Ewing sarcoma, and it was first described by Ribot in 1914. So a triangle should have ideally three borders here, but a Codman's triangle is a misnomer. It is having only two borders. So Codman's triangle, it's a triangular area of new subperiosteal bone that is created when a lesion raises the periosteum away from the bone. So basically it's a triangular area of new subperiosteal bone which is created when a lesion raises the periosteum away from the bone. So commonly it is seen in osteosarcoma, Ewing sarcoma, and some other lesions, infective lesions like osteomyelitis. So triangle should have three borders, two on the sides and a base, but Codman's triangle is a misnomer. So here we can see the lesion, the inner border of the lesion, that is the cortical bone, the elevated periosteum, and below is the tumor area where the ossification is prevented because of the rapid growth of the lesion. So Codman's triangle is having two borders. One is the bone border, that is the cortical bone border. Second is the elevated periosteum, and the base is non-ossified area because the tumor is growing very fast in size. So basically it's a pseudo triangle. It's not a triangle. So what is the mechanism of it? Is advancing or aggressive tumor. It destroys the adjacent area. Periosteal new bone is not ossified. The periosteum doesn't have time to ossify with shells of new bone, and it looks like this. So the inner border of the cortical bone, the elevated periosteum, and the below part is a non-ossified part. So Codman's triangle is a pseudo triangle. Next, periosteal reaction includes a speculated divergent or radial reaction, that is sunburst or sunray type of periosteal reaction. So on the right side we can see mammogram in a case of CA breast. So it's similar to the mammogram, and this type of periosteal reaction is commonly seen in osteosarcoma and Ewing sarcoma. So this is an example of sunburst or sunray type of periosteal reaction classically seen in osteosarcoma. Next important is lamellated or onion peel type of periosteal reaction. So like concentric rings, onion is having multiple layers, and here we can appreciate it's a lamellated or onion peel type of periosteal reaction classically seen in Ewing sarcoma of the bone. Next is pathological fracture. Here case of radius osteosarcoma, pathological fracture which was treated with chemotherapy and limb salvage surgery was performed, and right side we can see pathological fracture in the case of sarcoma. Next is periosteal reaction followed by soft tissue swelling exterior of the bone. So here we can appreciate there is soft tissue swelling anteriorly and posteriorly, and this was a case of osteosarcoma femur. Next important sign is a cookie cutter sign, which is when a cookie is cut. So that is classically seen in metastatic lesions. This was a case of liver cancer with the mets into the ulna bone, which is suggestive of cookie cutter sign. So can we appreciate all the x-rays and diagnose all the lesions on radiograph? So no, it's not the case. So this is a classical example. A lesion involving distal end of the femur in a skeletally immature child, and if we read this x-ray properly based on all our criteria, it looks to be a lesion in distal femur, quite well defined with no periosteal reaction, osteolytic lesion, and whether it's a benign or malignant lesion, it's very difficult. Radiologically it looks benign, but MRI was performed which showed fluid level. Biopsy was performed and this was a case of telangiectatic osteosarcoma. So X-ray gives quite good idea in majority of the cases, and we can reach radiological diagnosis in majority of cases, but this is not a full and final thing. So after X-ray we require a MRI followed by biopsy to reach the diagnosis. So if we summarize all the things what we had learned in today's session is, if we read the X-ray which was shown in the earlier part of the presentation, this is a skeletally mature individual showing a lesion in humerus. Metaphysis, diaphysis is involved, osteolytic and sclerotic lesion. It's ill-defined without periosteal reaction with wide zone of transition, so looks like a radiograph of a malignant bone lesion involving whole of the humerus. Read this X-ray, lesion involving both femurs, pelvis, humerus, pathological fracture, so it was a case of metastatic bone lesion. So we had formulated a simple method, that is A to Z RAM, and if the radiographs looks green, means suspected bone tumor is benign. So we'll get MRI of the patient, biopsy as per the type of lesion. So if the lesion looks to be benign and biopsy should be performed, it should be based on all the principles of biopsy for bone tumors. And if we are suspecting it's a malignant bone tumor, get the MRI done, refer the patient earliest possible to a tertiary cancer care center so that the treatment is not delayed. So again, we'll like to repeat the things. If you are suspecting a suspected bone tumor based on your radiographic assessment, get an MRI done of the patient, do biopsy if required for that lesion. If you are suspecting it's a malignant bone lesion, get the MRI done and refer the patient earliest possible to tertiary cancer care center so that the treatment is not delayed. We would like to share our case of primary leiomyosarcoma of humerus, which was presented with a pathological fracture and plating was done inadherently by the treating surgeon, and it turned out to be a sarcoma. So key patient was treated with chemotherapy and wide excision of the tumor was done, followed by a nail plate cement spacer, and limb salvage surgery was performed. So can this be avoided? Yes, this can be avoided. The use of proper clinical history, radiographic evaluation. So what are the implications of the today's presentation? So A to Z RAM is a radiograph assessment method which is reproducible for viewing the X-rays of radiographs in outpatient department. So we are having busy clinical practice and important radiographic features can be missed, but if we apply this method of A to Z RAM for reviewing the X-ray, we will not miss important points, and second, it can aid in better patient management. Secondly, it's a medical triage system, so we can divide the patients into two classical types: suspected benign lesion and suspected malignant lesion. And if we are suspecting it's a benign lesion, get an MRI done, do biopsy if required for that lesion. And if we are suspecting it's a malignant lesion, get the MRI done and refer it earliest possible to a tertiary cancer care center where the patient can be managed in a better way with proper treatment methods. Yes, we can win. So we can win the fight against cancer and we can win the fight against COVID. So thank you very much. And if you have any queries, you can just email on this email ID, that is bonestumor@gmail.com. Or if you want to see any details of patient treatment and methods for bone tumor, you can visit our website, that is www.bonetumor.co.in. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.